If you're thinking about getting a Char-Griller Gravity 980 cooker and are wondering how well can this Gravity smoker cook a steak, this is the video for you. Hey guys, I am Steve, the Cookout Coach, and we're here to help you take your barbecue to the next level no matter what you need. Today what we're going to be doing is testing our Char-Griller Gravity 980 cooker and seeing just how well we can cook a steak on it. So traditionally, a large Gravity smoker is something you would see at competitions or maybe in a large restaurant, and it's pretty much a one-trick pony. It smokes food, does it very consistently, and does it incredibly. I can tell you, we've already confirmed both in the backyard and on the competition trail that the Gravity 980 can absolutely smoke some delicious food. At the time of recording this video, we're actually sitting at #1 in the nation in the KCBS backyard rib rankings on that Gravity. And if you want to know some of the tips and tricks of how we do it, we've actually started up a Patreon that I'll leave the link to down in the description of this video. We're going to be doing live streams over there to talk about any questions you guys have surrounding competition barbecue, social media barbecue, and anything in between. Back to today's video, there is no greater test for a do-it-all cooker to me than the ribeye steak. Today that's exactly what we have, is a choice grade ribeye steak from the local supermarket. It's about 1 inch thick and we're gonna see exactly what we can do with it. So for today's video, we're gonna be using an assortment of products. This is gonna be a really easy cook. We're gonna marinate this steak for about an hour though to start off with. All we need to have to marinate the steak is a large Ziploc bag. Now this one is a very large one. It's one that I use in my competitions, so you really don't need one this big, just one that can hold both of these steaks. With the steaks in the bag, I've got a bottle of Kosmos brisket mop. This brisket mop, if you just taste it out of the bottle, tastes really good. It tastes like some steak sauces I've tasted. It's extremely beefy. There's a lot of great savory flavors. And we're gonna get this in to marinate these steaks and let the sodium and other flavors sort of work on it. That being said, I do think it's a little bit concentrated. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pour half of the bottle of this Kosmos brisket mop into this bag. And today we're gonna cut it with about half a bottle of water. Now, this could be dealer's choice, right? If you wanna cut this with beer or with beef consomme or some other beef broth, by all means, take your liberties with it. But to me today, I'm just gonna split it with water just to see how it turns out. Once we get it all in there, seal it up as tight as you can, get as much air out of the bag as possible, and really move it around to make sure that those steaks are covered. And then it's just into the refrigerator for an hour. Now while that's happening, we're gonna go ahead and light our cooker off. We're gonna use some Blues Hog briquettes today and give this thing plenty of time to clean up. We'll light it in the bottom just like we always do. No wood today anywhere in the hopper or the ash pan. And we're gonna set this grill to 550 degrees. With our hour up, there's nothing left to do but season these steaks up. And what we're gonna use today is my personal favorite Cosmos blend for steaks. After we get them out of the bag, we're gonna dab them dry just a little bit. I wanna leave a lot of that flavor on there, but I wanna get some of the moisture off to help with our sear of this steak. We're gonna start with Texas beef. This is a great fine rub, a lot of salt, some sugar in there, a lot of savory notes. I love this on just about anything. Then we're gonna come in on top of it with some cow cover. Now these are some more, I want to say barbecue-esque notes, but more spice notes that go with beef. So there's some chilies in there, there's a little bit of heat in there. It's a lot of great notes. And finally, we're going to come back over the top with our coarse grind SPG from Cosmos. And this is just going to give you that classic steakhouse feel. Flip it over and do the exact same thing to the other side. Before you know it, these steaks look amazing getting ready to go on this grill. We're gonna let these steaks set for about 5 minutes. They really don't need a whole lot of time for the rub to adhere because they're still a little bit moist from the marinade, but I still wanna give them just a little bit of time so we don't instantly rub it off on the grill grates. Before we throw these steaks on, I do wanna remind you that it was important that we have our grill up and running with plenty of time before we put these steaks on. Not because this grill needs a lot of time to come up to temperature, but because I want to give those porcelain coated cast iron grates plenty of time to soak up that heat and heat up to really help with the searing action on these steaks. And just like that, our steaks go on. Now we're gonna put them on here and leave them on for 2 minutes before we rotate them. At the 2 minute mark, we'll go ahead and rotate them around 90 degrees. After another 2 minutes, we'll go ahead and give them a flip and see what the sear looks like on this underside. For a Gravity smoker, I'm really happy with the sear that we're seeing here, given these steaks were wet when we put them on there, which means it's going to take a lot more energy to sear on them. At 2 minutes, we're gonna rotate another 90 degrees and check our temperatures. We're currently setting at about 100 degrees, which is where I wanna be. Now at this point, you've really gotta keep an eye on these steaks because they will jump up to your doneness temperature very quickly. Now what I'm gonna be targeting is somewhere between 125 and 130 degrees for a good medium rare. And after another 2 minutes, we are 130 degrees in our one steak and about 125 in the second steak. So it's time to get these off, give them maybe a 5-minute rest, cut into them and see what we've got. Guys, here we go. I can tell you just by picking this thing up, it is tender as all get out and smells absolutely amazing. So here we go. I got nothing. That steak is phenomenal. I don't normally marinate a steak, but I had this Cosmos brisket mop and I wanted to try it. The flavors it gives off they're very savory. They're very, if you want to use the term umami-esque, it's beefy, it's savory. The 3 rubs we use, cow cover, Texas beef, and SPG, just played right into it. Nothing stands out above anything else. It's a really great flavor. It reminds me of something I've had whenever I've gone to a very fancy steakhouse and ordered, you know, the expensive steak off the menu. We've all been there. The Char-Griller 980 Gravity did absolutely everything I would expect it to do if it were just a regular charcoal grill. I always joke with people telling them I can't really grill on a gas grill. I don't know why, but I always start a grease fire. It never really works for me. I always love the smell when you start with those flavorizer bars. We got the same thing going on today on the Char-Griller Gravity 980 with its diffuser. I know it's so cliche to say, but the smell that came off of that grill whenever I put those steaks on there to begin with was just absolutely amazing, and that is the flavor that I'm getting right now. So if you want a quick and easy steak recipe, give this a shot. Try it on your Char-Griller 980. You saw the sear that we put on it was fantastic. If you wanted a little bit more, bump it up. Hey, this is the first time I've had this thing cooking at over 300 degrees, so I wasn't sure what to expect, and it was a classic 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes ribeye. There's nothing you can complain about when that happens. Now that we've got the quick cook down on the Char-Griller Gravity 980, why don't you meet me over here and let's talk about a pork butt.